Be strong.
Mixed Impressions. And today we're talking about engagements and how long we feel they should last. um, I think after proposal, I should be married within 6 months, maybe a year at the most.
I think that's a pretty good time frame. The year, not 6 months. I think
I think
that's
that's,
just not long.
ugh,
I think
I,
for me, the limit is 3 years. 3 years is pretty good because you can get your shit together. Y'all can figure out what house you're gonna live in. That takes time, you know.
yeah, so you're saying you want everything set for even post wedding. Like, we are moving in here
Well,
afterwards.
I feel like there's things to be done. Like you can't, at least for, I guess it's different for everyone else. But I think things might change once you have a ring on your finger. Like the dynamics might change. So I think in order to kind of get used to that new change coming, 2, 3 years, that's a pretty good amount of time. Now, anything beyond that, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. But you made a good point. I would want to make sure we have the place we're moving into.
Yeah,
Like,
because
yeah,
if you want to focus on a marriage and all of the nice things that come with a marriage, you need to make sure everything else is taken care of. Now, some people probably already have that taken care of, but that's just something you have to consider. You know what I mean?
mhm. Yeah, I'd want to know where we're living. I'd want to know, yeah, I'd want to know where we're living. But also, my concern is when we get engaged, people seem to get a little bit more hot and heavy. So then I'd be pregnant. Um, I have a higher probability of being pregnant because we're having more sex, and so I just wouldn't want like I know people do it. My mom did it. Like people are pregnant. Or
You mean to tell me you can't control yourself during that time to not get pregnant, though?
I just know I would.
Like, if that's a
Like,
main concern, you can't control yourself if the wedding is the main priority.
yes, yes, I would just there's that, and then also it's just like I don't. Ugh, it's so hard. Like also it depends on how long we were dating. Like how long were
That's
we?
true.
Like what things have transpired in our relationship. Like, if it's all good, then I'm like, yeah, let's just hurry up and get married and get this done so then we can start having kids and all the things. Cause
Yeah.
yeah, cause I know someone, but it was a very Jewish thing. Cause they want you to have kids right then and there. So this guy, he got married to one of his friends, but he went and he was engaged to her, and then they got married in like 3 months, and she wasn't pregnant, but they got pregnant very quickly after. I think they were Syrian in New York. So, but yeah, so I think that also like your family comes into play, like how old. Yeah, because that would be me too. I'd want to get married faster, so like that my parents, mainly my dad, could see me get married. Because
That's important. Yeah, I
yeah,
understand that.
yeah. So the
But I do
shorter,
feel like there's people in situations that maybe the baby came before the ring, you know? And maybe that's something they kind of have to figure out. So, at the end of the day, like it does depend on that person and, what they're able to accomplish within that time frame.
yeah, I remember one of my exes. He got married to his then girlfriend once she got like not got married. He got engaged to her, and
Mhm.
so once the baby came, then they got married. Because so I've seen it happen that way too. Also, who else did that? Who was famous? Him and Kanye. Well, we see how that played out, but
I
they
don't
that's
know. Yeah.
it.
Oh God. Do you think it's selfish to have a time frame?
No,
I
I
don't think it's selfish. I think it's selfish if you're like, why are we not married tomorrow type shit, you know?
Yeah, I think it's selfish on because it could go both ways. It doesn't have to be the man delaying the wedding. It could also
Right.
women delay weddings all the time because
Yeah.
they're comfortable and they really um don't want to move on to the next phase. Because I notice a lot of women don't want to move on to the next phase sometimes because um, some families do want you to have children right away. So I could see that, being a thing, especially like, if you're traveling all the time and
Right.
doing all the things, it's like, who wants to give that up, while you're still young and hot, you
Yeah,
know?
that's true. Because I
Yeah,
do think that that's something everyone should consider. Because I have a friend that got married, and she's just like, "We want to travel right now. We don't want to immediately have children, and that's okay." Like, I
sure.
think that this mindset of we need to rush and do everything in these like unrealistic stages, like you have to do this and that. It's just not. It doesn't work for everyone, you know.
Mhm.
But
I
there are people that I don't understand, and to each his own, that will be engaged for an extended amount of time. And now I can only feel like that's going on if there's a complacent person in the picture. What do you think?
That's just embarrassing. I
You think
it is I think so. It's embarrassing. Like, you're just over here, like, being engaged for God knows how long, and you're not married? Like, I would just be so upset. Like, if it were my decision, okay, but if it's not my decision and someone isn't trying to marry me and they just gave
Mhm.
me this fictitious ring, like, you just lied to me. You lied
Well, I
to
think what happens sometimes, there
people.
have been studies done that you move in with your significant other, the chances of you guys getting married is pretty freaking slim. And we had this conversation, but it's like when you're playing the role of a wife, some guys are just like, what is the rush? We're doing everything we need to do. You're doing everything you need to do. Like, why are we rushing, to the chapel?
Exactly. I feel that's a huge part of it, but I also feel depending on which party, I think either party, if the woman's putting it off or if the man's putting it off, one of them needs to step up and say, "This is what I really want," and not be embarrassed or not feel insecure about their wants and needs. Like, I would just be upset and irritated. But again, like seeing this happen around town and stuff, like where people have these extended engagements, now I know. I'm like, okay, okay. So if
Yeah, and
people
I think your friends matter because like we're watching
Mhm.
on what's it, Glam Empire?
Bling Empire,
Bling Empire in Empire. Every time they would see the girl, they're like, is that a new ring? Is that the ring? And it's like, come on, you guys. You guys know the situation. You're just making it worse for her. And I think the pressure of her friends were just like, oh my God, I have to propose to this guy now.
I didn't see that part yet.
I think I told you earlier, so sorry about that.
I didn't know if it was for sure because you didn't confirm it. I thought it
Girl,
was,
I was telling you everything. I'm like, you don't even watch it. Just listen to me. I'll tell you everything going on.
but I don't. I don't know.
Okay, but you don't know how it happens, okay? I'll just
I would just be embarrassed. Like if I were the girl in that show, I would be embarrassed, but I'd be embarrassed because I gave him another source of happiness and he's not fulfilling um my wants and desires, like my wants and needs. Um like why would I make you happy? You didn't make me happy. Like I already gave you one child and you still didn't get married and I've expressed to you multiple times this is what I want, but then I go and give you another baby. I don't feel like I'm getting what I really want out of this, so I wouldn't go and give you another baby. Like,
but do
I
you think things are really gonna change like in a woman's mind? Like realistically, let's just say like, oh, so some women it's like that's what I want to do. That's gonna make me happy if we get married. And maybe it does change things for some people, but do you feel like long term that's really gonna change anything about the dynamics of a relationship? For some, not everybody.
yeah, I think it changes things because when you're someone's spouse, you have more rights. Like you you know, you're a part of their family even more so because you were married. Like you go and like when you need to visit someone in the hospital and their spouse, you know, that's a big thing.
Yeah, that's true.
What
Yeah.
if something happens? And the kids, like if we separate, like whose name do they take?
Hmm.
Like, you know, I think it's really significant, you know, especially if that's something you want. If it's not something you want, it doesn't matter. But if that's something
Yeah,
you want, then it's significant.
that should matter. That's true. It should
Yeah.
matter.
What's that other show, Marrying Millions? Like the first season, like the guy who had like the printing press and stuff, he had a girlfriend who he had for a while and they had a son. And then she wasn't going to give him another son because she said that. She was like, because he wanted to have another kid. And she's like, no, unless we get
Was
married.
it the was it the couple that like the dad was like, do not marry her without a prenup? Remember that? He still married her without a prenup.
Yeah, she was a strong woman.
That's another topic. That's something else. It's like
Yeah,
concerning for.
I'd say it. I
Would
think
you sign a prenup? That's my next question. Would you?
I would. I mean, we're married and we're supposed to be in it together. So, I mean, if things don't work out, I'm not leaving without anything, but I'll, you know, leave, you know, with a reasonable amount, you know, because also prenups can also be like living documents, like they can change over time.
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
so it's not like you're not like legally, you're not even stuck in what you signed, like, because it doesn't really matter too much. I mean, I'd sign a prenup. It's not a big deal to me. Like if I care about the person, I love the person, I want to be with them, then
Right.
that would make me happy. I would sign a prenup. It's not a big deal. Would you sign a prenup?
I yeah. I mean, like you said, I don't think if the concern is being taken care of, I would hope that you're not going to marry someone that can't really provide either
Yeah.
way, you
Or
know? So if love is what really is conquering all and the only thing stopping me is a prenup, because shit, I might have more money than the guy. Who knows? You never know what happens. Like, I think that definitely matters. But yeah, I would sign
yeah, it's not a big deal. I don't understand why people make big deals. I think
a prenup.
the only thing is if the prenup says you leave with what you came in with. And I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. So I gave you children. I gave you my life. Like I can't go back to where I was before.
That's
So I should,
funny. You leave with what you came with.
yeah,
Oh gosh,
okay. Like
I'm
in
pretty
a,
sure some are like that though.
no, it was because a famous one. There are a few famous ones, but the one I remember the most is Tammy. She was on Basketball Wives, and she was originally on The Real World, and she married some basketball player. And then the prenup that she signed, because she didn't have much business savvy at the time, was she left with what she had, which was $500,000 or something like that, and that's all she had.
What?
She still had
You said
to
25,000 or
no 500,000 or 50,000. Maybe it was 50,000. She had whatever money she got from The Real World. That's how much she had in her account, and so she left with how much she had in her account at the time. I thought that was interesting.
what do you think? Because I've obviously said like people get complacent and you're already playing the role. Why get married? But what do you think are some reasons why men drag their feet besides what I said?
'Cause they're hoes. You know, it's not.
Why would you want to marry a hoe then?
I just it's I'd marry a hoe because
Because a
people.
hoe's gonna be a hoe whether you're married or not, though. And
I
what
know
makes it worse is when you are married, there's more commitment involved, and when he's not giving you that commitment, it's even more harder to deal with.
there's consequences. He wanted to sign a prenup, right?
But the thing is, I don't think that's gonna stop anyone from being a hoe.
Well, it doesn't.
Not most guys. I need to be very careful when I say this. Some men, and we definitely know some,
I'm not saying it's
are
gonna.
hoes no matter what the status is. We know this.
I'm not saying it's going to stop them. I'm just saying there are consequences to their actions. Like, okay, so your boyfriend cheats on you.
So there's more valid threats, that's for sure.
Valid threats, but there are consequences. Because even in prenups and
Mm.
all things, there's like clauses that say, if you cheat, if you do this, blah, blah. So that's why these women, people are like, oh, how did she get so much sun for you? He cheated, and there's proof.
Okay,
So,
so here's my question. Sorry to cut you off. But, there's the promise ring, then there's the engagement ring.
promise
And we
rings.
talked about how long it should take to fully get married from an engagement ring. What about promise rings? Michelle?
Come on, you know this.
No, I don't actually.
it's a complete joke. If someone offers
This
me,
is I just want your opinion. It's not a wrong or right answer. It's
it's a
just your opinion.
joke. I don't know how else to say it. It's a joke. Like a promise ring is a joke. An engagement ring is a conditional gift. A promise ring is not. It's a promise. Like if someone promises, to give you something and they never come through, that's a promise. Like there's
Okay, so what if that's the first step of like you're dating this guy, you're like, look,
What are we 15?
I don't know what the future holds. Michelle, I'm talking to you as the man. I don't know what the future holds, baby, but
What are we
I
15?
want to eventually take those steps with you, but this is a promise ring and I am giving you my love and we will get to that point.
I'd take the ring.
So you would not decline the ring. So then it must mean something then, right?
No, I take.
Oh, come on.
I didn't say I believe in the ring. I said I take it. Like I'm not going to turn down a gift.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. But would I be like, oh, if someone asked me about it, I'm like, oh, it's a nice ring. What is it? It's just a ring. I wouldn't say anything about it. I'd just be like, oh yeah, it's a nice ring. My boyfriend bought it for me, something like that. Oh,
There you go. You could just say he bought it for me.
Yeah, that's all. That's all I'd say. That's all I'd say. I wouldn't wear it.
What bothers me though the most, like I think that, and it's obvious why people would ask this, but like if you have rings on your finger, they're like, oh my god, are you engaged? Nope, I just bought them for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Like no, that's not happening.
No, but that's probably what I would say if it were like a promise ring. I wouldn't wear it on the ring finger. I would just wear it as a ring, and so there'd be no confusion. And then if you decide to give me an engagement ring, because I can't, it's just a promise. You made no condition. You didn't
But
make
what
it.
if the guy is like, this is the promise ring that we'll get the engagement ring. You can start looking for engagement rings now. Is there requirements with the engagement ring as far as the carats?
I don't know, because I just want something I'd like, and I can't say how many carats it is or isn't. I may not even want a diamond. Maybe I
So
want.
what if this guy, this is hypothetical.
Yeah, probably want jade.
What if he gets the ring from Walmart?
You don't talk to people who get rings from Walmart.
No. There are so many different types of people on this planet that have different
That's how you're supposed to be.
budgets. But what if it's like you love the ring? It's like, oh my god, it is pretty.
Get an MBA to talk to someone who gets a ring from Walmart. I'm just
These pretty rings from Walmart.
I don't know where I don't know where Walmart is. I know.
You're like Michelle. You're like Paris Hilton. You're like, what is Walmart? Is that where they sell walls?
We don't have them. But I'm just saying.
Okay, Target. There you go. You know what Target is?
Yeah, I know what it is. But you get what I'm saying. No, like, come on. We put so much work into ourselves and all this stuff. Like, all these.
You're so funny. I know. No, I completely understand. I get it.
No shade, but I mean, like, this is completely different topic, but we'll get right back into it. But after so long, and like, if I were 20 again, I would forgive it, because there was a point when this guy wanted to get married, and I said, we'll talk about it, whatever. But if he came to me with a ring, and it was from Walmart at that time, I knew I had all this time.
What?
So that's different. But at this stage, it is go time. I can't wait for you to get it together. Like, we have, house payments, cars and stuff. I didn't have all that then.
Why? They're on a budget, Michelle. Okay, so here's my next thing. Have you been in a situation to where you could have got married and you're like, you're not the one for me, but thank you for asking?
Yeah, a few times. Yeah, yeah. My ex who got married to his girlfriend, and he kept calling, trying to come back and get married. Yeah, I remember that. And it was like that was interesting because he did everything
Yeah.
that I wanted, like down to the dog. But I said I couldn't forgive him from the past because I couldn't forgive him. Because I just kept seeing. He's like, I'm not the same anymore. But I couldn't forgive him, and so people move on. But he's happy now. I think I told him to stop talking to me, but he's happy now. But yeah, him and then someone else, kind of a similar situation. I need to you know, it's just hard to forgive people when they do things. But that's a whole nother
Yeah.
topic.
Like, no, yeah, I do. I definitely feel like that kind of stuff matters. Like, if trust is not involved in a situation and it's been broken so many times, it's good to be realistic and say, I can't forgive you. And it's mature and it's smart to know your limit, though, in situations. And I feel like people that are in those situations of having a ring on their finger, they don't really have a limit of what they're going to tolerate, and that's the
Really,
reason why things extend to 8 years and nothing has happened.
yeah, it's really sad. I think it's sad on, let's say, women, because women, I think women control the relationship more than we give credit to ourselves for. Um, we definitely control the relationship because if we don't want to have sex with you, you're not going to have sex with us. If we don't want to have a baby, you're not going to have a baby.
Yeah,
It's
I think that women should not be underestimated,
Yeah, we
what
have
we
the
control.
power.
And not even necessarily control, it's just like what our abilities are of making things happen for ourselves if we truly feel like that's something that we need.
Happy wife, happy life. So that's just how it is. It's like we control the vibe. We control, like, he can't make a baby by himself.
Right.
Like, we could, he can't do it. Like, we could just like take his stuff and get pregnant. We don't
Right.
physically, but he
Yeah,
physically.
and like we said, like everyone has different situations. Like what works for me may not work for you, and that's okay. And I think that I'm happy for people that are engaged and will eventually walk down the aisle. But I do think that there is a lot of gray areas with that entire situation of being engaged, getting married, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, and I think people should enjoy the process, enjoy the ride. Not again, not rush into it because people do change their minds.
Exactly.
So that goes back to like how long you've been dating. That's how
Yeah,
long.
and it's like
You know,
it's good that you said like don't rush because I think that we have the social pressure, we have the age that's like, oh my gosh, I'm getting this age. I need to do these things. And I feel like if we kind of like eliminate that pressure, I think that we'll be able to have a more organic experience when we can kind of like solve issues that works for us in our situation. Because the pressure of the social pressure, just like the girl from that reality show, like I think a lot of it was like her friends were mentioning that she still has an engagement ring on her finger, not a wedding ring. But
yeah,
everyone's different.
yeah, and she was on baby number two. It probably hit her then.
Yeah. And her situation is different. Like she just lost her mom too.
Yeah,
And I felt like come on, like give me what I want. I've been through this. I want to marry you.
yeah, you've already been through life experiences. You've experienced death together. You've experienced birth.
Yeah.
So we've been through the full cycle. So I don't know. I feel like I would feel shaded if I gave him a second child if he still didn't even. That's me because I feel like that's the biggest gift you can give anybody. I think so.
Yeah, I'm hoping that everyone kind of finds what they want, makes it happen for themselves. It's all that matters. You know, if it works out for you, I hope you don't have to wait 15 years to make it happen.
It's so ridiculous.
No shade, no shade at all, though.
Oh, I'm shading. I'm shading. But, all right. See you next time.
See ya.